You've done the work. You understand why you react the way you do. You can see your patterns clearly. You know where they came from. And still, you keep doing the same things. Knowing yourself didn't fix anything. It just gave you a front row seat to watch yourself repeat the same mistakes with full awareness. That's not enlightenment. That's something else entirely. For a long time, self-awareness has been treated as the answer to almost everything. Understand your triggers. Recognize your patterns. Know yourself deeply enough, and the rest will follow. And for a while, it feels like that's exactly what's happening. But then something shifts. The more clearly you see yourself, the harder it becomes to simply live without commentary. Every reaction gets examined before it finishes. Every feeling gets labeled before it's fully felt. You're not just living your life anymore, you're watching yourself live it, and the watching never stops. What was supposed to free you starts to feel like another weight. There's a reason this happens. The human brain has the unusual ability to observe itself, to step back from its own thoughts and examine them. Psychologists call this metacognition, and up to a point, it genuinely helps. Catching a reaction before it causes damage, recognizing a pattern mid-motion, noticing when fear is driving a decision rather than reason. But the same mechanism that makes this useful can quietly turn against you. When the observing part of the mind becomes too loud, too constant, too present, it stops being a tool. It becomes a presence that watches everything, comments on everything, and never quite lets you forget that it's watching. You start living two lives at once, the one you're living and the one you're narrating. This is exactly what Carl Jung was pointing at when he wrote about the process of becoming truly conscious. He spent decades exploring what it means to face yourself fully, the parts you understand and the parts you'd rather not. He believed that real self-knowledge required courage, not just curiosity. But even Jung knew that seeing yourself clearly is not the same as being free of yourself. Knowing that you tend to withdraw when threatened doesn't stop the withdrawal. Understanding the origin of a fear doesn't dissolve it. Recognizing a pattern in real time doesn't always mean you can interrupt it. Insight and change are not the same thing. And the space between them, where you can see exactly what you're doing and still can't stop, is one of the most disorienting places a self-aware person can find themselves. And it shows up most painfully in the moments that should feel the most natural. The more carefully you watch yourself in social situations, the less naturally you move through them. You're not just having the conversation anymore, you're monitoring it, editing what you say before it leaves your mouth, reviewing it after, wondering how you came across, what they noticed, whether you were too much or not enough. The spontaneity disappears, the ease disappears. And the painful irony is that this usually happens to people who wanted to become more genuine, more present, more real. The pursuit of self-understanding pulled them further from the unself-conscious version of themselves they were searching for. Reflection moves. It looks at something, takes what's useful, and lets the rest go. It changes how you see something, and then releases it. Rumination circles. It returns to the same territory again and again, not because there's more to understand, but because the mind hasn't found a way to put it down. It looks like thinking. It feels like thinking, but it produces almost nothing new. Most people who describe themselves as deeply self-aware are spending far more time in rumination than reflection, and from the inside, the two feel almost identical. The point of knowing yourself was never to watch yourself more carefully. It was to need to watch yourself less. Real self-awareness, the kind that actually changes something, doesn't consume attention. It frees it. It makes certain reactions lose their grip. It makes the constant narration quieter, not louder. If self-knowledge is making life feel heavier, more monitored, more exhausting, that's not awareness working. That's awareness stuck. And the way through isn't more analysis. It's learning to trust what you've already understood enough to let it change you quietly, without an audience. Even the one inside your own head. If this describes something you've been living with, share it with someone who would recognize themselves in it. This channel exists to say out loud the things most people feel but rarely hear explained. Subscribe if that's what you came here for.